Chapter 3, Who Wins the Game of Health? Rule number 1, quote from Kojak. Who loves you, baby? Now, average people will say stuff like, oh, I heard fish is good for you. Oh, really? Where'd you hear that? From a magazine or a TV show that's supported by the tuna fish advertisers? The magazine and the TV show, they work for the fish factory, not for you. Fish is routinely fried. It routinely contains lots of saturated fat, in addition to the touted omega-3s, and it often contains mercury. Rule number 2, if something is routinely fried, contains lots of saturated fat, and often contains mercury, it's not good for you, even if the Scarlet Pimpernel or any other pimp disagrees. Rule number 3, you can't outsource your health. You can buy a new car, but you can't buy a new body. Plastic surgery can make a babe boobalicious, but it doesn't do much for guys. Guys want boners and biceps. To keep your boner, you got to keep your arteries open. To build your biceps, you need to pump iron. You keep your arteries open by eating a vegetarian diet that maintains your total cholesterol below 150. You can't have your doctor in charge of your health. Your doctor can help you and give you a lot of useful advice. You learn a lot from them, but you have to choose what you eat every day. You choose how much you sleep. You choose how much you exercise. You choose how you handle your social relationships and manage your stress levels. That's up to you. Rule number 4, your health depends more on you than it does on your doctor. Your doctor knows a lot and wants to help you, and Western doctors are very good at treating acute disease. However, most disease is chronic and lifestyle related. You didn't get fat overnight. If you are a meat eater, it's going to take a couple of months probably to optimize your body weight, and for some people it can even take a couple of years. Ask not what your doctor can do for you, but what you can do for yourself. That type of thinking is useful in other parts of life. Ask not what a husband can do for a wife, but what a wife can do for a husband. Okay, rule number 5. The fastest path to optimal body weight is a whole foods, plant-based diet with no oils and no nuts. And here's a quote from Leo Tolstoy, the Russian author. The most difficult subjects can be explained to the most slow-witted man if he has not yet formed any idea of the topic already. But the simplest thing, it cannot be made clear to even the most intelligent man if he is firmly persuaded that he knows already what is laid before him. So you got to have an open mind about this. Trust me, a lot of people are almost programmed to not get it. If you had a pet dog and the dog wasn't feeling well, it'd be one of the first things you check to make sure the dog is getting good dog food. Well, it's the same things for humans. It's super important to be eating healthy food that we are designed for, okay? Like, look at our teeth. We don't have any big fangs. We're not made to pierce flesh like a big lion or tiger. We're made to grind plant foods. Okay, now, average people, they get mad when a doctor tells them they should become vegetarian. If you give a patient a pill, they usually smile and they go, oh, thank you, doctor. Now, if you tell them that they should become a vegan, all of a sudden they rattle off objections. They start throwing a hissy fit like a teenager who's been told they got to do the dishes before they go to a friend's house. My neurosurgeon friend told me that he had several patients who called him an asshole when he encouraged them to lose weight. Here's a quote from Alfred Adler, the psychologist. Quote, any attempt to show the patient the truth tears him from his freedom from responsibility and therefore must reckon with the most vehement resistance. Unquote. Here's a quote from the author James Gleick. It says, quote, ideas that require people to reorganize their picture of the world provoke hostility, unquote. Yep, that's true. People don't like being told they got to change their behavior. They want a magic pill that's going to solve all their problems. It's like buying an indulgence and you get to go to heaven. Well, in real life, it's usually not that simple. So, who wins the game of health and diet? Here's who. The people who eat a diet about 90 to 95% plant-based. They walk for an hour or more every day. And it's good to walk after meals. A lot of times I'll walk around while I'm eating my dinner because that helps to prevent or minimize a postprandial glucose blood spike. it can do so by 50%, and that's a healthy thing. It's also good to have a standing desk. You can get one of those desks, you push a button and it goes up and down, and so that way you can spend at least, try to spend at least about half of your workday if possible, or at least a third of your workday standing up rather than sitting down and on your butt all day long at a computer. If you have to sit at a computer and you can't get a desk that stands up, there's a couple things you can do. Get another little table, put it on top of the first table, or you can simply, every half hour just make sure you stand up. One way to do it is every time the phone rings, stand up when you talk on the phone. Just do something to keep yourself standing up a lot, because if you just sit on your butt all day long, you tend to not perfuse your spine very well. You tend to get back pain. You are more predisposed to osteoporosis. It's not good. Okay, about other things to keep your brain sharp. Good to be reading a lot. Try to get in the habit of reading a lot. It just makes you smarter. It'll make you a more interesting person. Have a book in your bathroom when you're doing a number one. Have a paperback when you're doing a number, whatever number. When you're in a car, have an audio book. If other people are home and you're in the kitchen, sure, talk to them, have a nice conversation. But you're by yourself, read a book. Just over time, you will read hundreds and hundreds of books that way, and your mind will stay sharper. Try to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep every night, and sort of make that your mantra every day. I'm going to get my steps in. I'm going to walk at least an hour. Maybe 10,000 steps is a reasonable amount to start out with, making that your goal. Just do stuff like park farther away at your job, when you go to the store, in your house. Every time you go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom that's far away, so you got to walk some stairs. At work, if you have the option of walking to another building to go to the bathroom, do that. Just look for reasons to make more exercise. Take the stairs. All of this stuff adds up as your daily habits. You can make it a little habit, for example, when you're home. Jump the stairs 2 at a time. All these things just train your body to be ready to generate bursts of energy. And then when you're around other people, you'll just, give off this glow of vitality. That's how it works. Okay, now about relationships. You want to try to maintain positive relationships with your family and friends, and you can kind of tell who likes you. Anybody who likes you, they're going to want you to be authentic. So here's a quote from Nathaniel Branden. Anyone who really loves you wants you to be authentic, and anyone who doesn't want you to be authentic doesn't really love you. He's the guy who was, had an affair with Ayn Rand for a while and wrote some books with her and was part of the whole objective school of philosophy. Okay, another thing that helps in life is to have a purpose and have some way that you help other people. Try to help other people on a routine basis every day if possible. I think it's good to have faith in God, and I say that because life's like a sine wave. There's ups and downs. When you're happy and things are going well, it's all great. You don't really need too much. But we all have down moments and down times, and having faith can help a person to survive those difficult moments. A lack of faith increases the risk of suicide, of being cruel to other people, and of substance abuse. So here's a quote from William Jennings Bryan. Science is a magnificent force, but it is not a teacher of morals. It can perfect machinery, but it adds no moral restraints to protect society from the misuse of the machine. I recommend you take a look at the paintings by Thomas Cole called The Voyage of Life. It has the phase from the baby starting out to youth, and then to midlife, and then to old age. Trust me, great paintings by Thomas Cole, The Voyage of Life. The next one I recommend you look at is take a look at the painting called Faust on Easter Morning by Johann Kraft. It's a masterpiece. It's from the book by Goethe, the German writer Johann Wolfgang Goethe. And basically Faust was this highly educated man, he's got doctorates and everything, big library, he's wealthy, but he's not happy. He's thinking about committing suicide. And then he looks out the window and he hears the Easter bells ringing and he remembers happier times. And he says, you know what? Maybe not yet. I'm going to explore life some more. Fascinating stuff. Anyways, here's a quote from G.K. Chesterton, the English writer. Quote, "It is absurd for the evolutionist to complain that it is unthinkable for God to make everything out of nothing, and then to pretend that it is more thinkable that nothing should turn itself into everything." Unquote. Here is another quote on the subject of the origin of life from Francis Crick, the co-discoverer of the DNA double helix. Quote, "An honest man, with all the knowledge available to us now, could only state that in some sense the origin of life appears at the moment almost a miracle. So many are the conditions which would have had to be satisfied to get it going." Okay, unquote. Nobody knows how life on this planet started. Trust me. Crick came up with the idea of quote unquote panspermia, that it was seeded from another planet. Perhaps that's what happened. Perhaps God started it. Nobody knows. Okay, it's incredibly complicated. If you go with RNA theory, you can't explain protein. If you go with protein theory, you can't explain RNA, and it's amazingly complicated. The origin of life and subsequently speciation. You know, speciation in bacteria, you can maybe go down the path of endosymbiosis, but with animal speciation, who knows? Okay. All right. So, anyways, next quote: Theodore Dalrymple, the English philosopher writer. Quote, "The loss of religious understanding of the human condition, that man is a fallen creature, for whom virtue is necessary but never fully attainable, is a loss, not a gain, in true sophistication. Non-judgmentalism is not really non-judgmental. It is a judgment that everything is the same and nothing is better. And this is barbaric. It is as untruthful a doctrine as has ever yet emerged from the mind of man. And to regret religion is to regret Western civilization." Okay, so what I'm basically saying here is life has meaning. Your life has meaning, and when you help other people, it makes your life even more meaningful. So try to do something where you're helping other people, and I think our reward neurotransmitters in our brain are increased when we do nice things for other people. So it makes you healthier and it makes you happier. That's a good deal. Okay, and then also I take a look at the people who have had incredible achievements in the arts, for example. Look at Bach, look at Michelangelo. They're all these devout religious people. Okay, so there's something about it that helps them to achieve. Okay, getting back now to some of our common medical diseases. There are some things that you should be afraid of. You should be afraid of a lot of these serious medical conditions, okay? And you should do what you can to prevent them. So here's a quote from William Burroughs: "Desperation is the raw material for drastic change. Only those who can leave behind everything that they have ever believed in can hope to escape. The best way to keep something bad from happening is to see it ahead of time, and you can't see it if you refuse to face the possibility." Unquote. Period.